Okay, enough about my broken PC. Enough about the things that have been destroyed. We need to talk about a bill that's currently being discussed in North Carolina. Yeah, it's North Carolina. This is a thing that we're going to have to talk about because it is yikes as fuck. But before we get into that, we need to get to the fan art section because if we don't, we will go crazy with sadness. Because what is most of this channel except suffering, but with a cutesy aesthetic? So, the very first one we have here is a slime Suris in a cup. If it fits, it sits. And it is absolutely fucking adorable. And I'm trying to scroll up to where the actual person who posted it is so I can talk about it. This is the issue with me showing fan art on stream that is not part of the chronological order stuff. Because when that happens, it gets very awkward for me because I have to scroll back up to where things are. But not only do we have the slime series here, it's from Idris. First fan art, teacup slime cat Suris. But if we look in here, we'll actually see hammer and sickle, Illuminati or call for an uprising, a hammer, words that will not be spoken. The fuck is this thing? The fuck is it? Why? Why? And then, of course, fucking Bored Apes. Anarchy symbol, but as our auras. Said, we know what it is. It's a fucking Suris Bitcoin. Jesus. Thank you very much, Idris. But also, anyway, moving on to Pernia's artwork. Catgirl Orc Suris. I have a problem. And the problem is currently green-skinned. And I don't know how to feel about it. Oh, Jesus. The last one we have here is from Nearly Mighty. Ah, yes, proper coin fan art. It's me beating the fucking shit out of Coin Suris. As it should be. This is moral fan art. This is good fan art. That fucking coin deserves to be beat to death. Jesus. As always, everybody, thank you very much, Nearly Mighty. Thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future episode, the best way to do so is to drop the fan art into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, before we get into the topic itself, if you haven't subscribed already, if you haven't hit the like button, if you haven't gone over to Patreon to check out everything over there, maybe consider doing those things. That would be amazingly awesome, and I appreciate all the support from all of you. With that said, let's go ahead and read. Let's do some reading, okay? Let's go ahead and do some reading. North Carolina has a bill here. An act to amend the North Carolina Constitution to declare that a distinct and separate human life begins at the moment of fertilization and shall be held inviolate as an individual person and protected by the laws of this state from the moment of fertilization until natural death, so long as that person is not convicted of a capital offense. Can we just call it a capital offense then to force somebody to use your body against their will? Like, to force somebody to use their body against their will? Can we do that, please? Please? Like, if I have to use my body for your benefit and I don't get to consent in that, maybe that should be a capital offense. And that would fix this whole problem right here. But let's continue. Section 1, Article 1 of the North Carolina Constitution is amended by adding a new section to read, life begins at fertilization. It is a matter of indisputable scientific fact that a distinct and separate human life begins at the moment of fertilization. Wow, the word human life is doing a lot of work there. I wasn't aware that a zygote with like a handful of clusters was human life. Ah, right, I forgot. The little bit of blood that leaked out of my arm when I scratched it on thorns, that was life. That was certainly life. Now, it is funny, though, because when we look at this, we do have to note that there's a difference between life and personhood. I don't give a fuck if it's life. I'm perfectly fine calling the handful of skin cells I rubbed off with a loofah. I'm perfectly fine calling that life. Sure, it is. Cool. Is it a person? No. The bits of skin that I shedded off the tip of my scrot is not going to be a human anytime soon. It's not going to have personhood. But okay. Even if we did grant personhood, I've actually got several videos pointing out that even that does not change anything, because at that, another person is using your body against your will. And at that point, we have words for that. Things like rape. We have nasty, terrible words for people who have to use their bodies against their will for the benefit of other people. If we want personhood to be the argument, then sure, we have things like rape, we have things like slavery, we've got all kinds of icky, yucky, nasty words to describe those things. But that's a conversation that most Republicans don't want to have. They think that the life is a gotcha, despite it being one of many half measures that don't quite get us to where they're trying to get us. But let's continue. As such, that new human life is recognized by the state as an individual person entitled, so they do have a personhood here, entitled to the protection of the laws of the state from the moment of fertilization until the moment of natural death. Any person who willfully seeks to destroy the life of another person by any means at any stage of life or succeeds in doing so shall be accountable for attempted murder or first-degree murder, respectively. All right, so here's a problem. Any person who willfully seeks to destroy the life of another person. What about self-defense? What about measures of self-defense? Because they've bit the bullet on personhood, and I'm glad they bit the bullet on personhood, but what about self-defense? Well, let's go ahead and look at that. Any person has the right to defend his or own life or the life of another person, even by the use of deadly force if necessary, from willful destruction by another person. The state has an interest and duty to defend innocent persons from willful destruction to their lives and to punish those who take the lives of persons born or unborn who have not committed any crime to be punishable by death. So, let's tackle this two ways. Two ways. The first way we can tackle this is the philosophical way. The second way we can tackle this is the very reactive way. The philosophical way is to say that the fetus is using your body against your will. Anybody using your body against your will should be able to be stopped by any means necessary. And if the only means of stopping somebody from using your body against your will is death, then stand your ground. And abortion are the same thing. The only difference is if you use a kitchen knife or a gun in one scenario or a coat hanger in the other. It's the exact same thing. So on the one hand, sure, run all this through. There's still going to be a lawyer who's going to go, hey, you understand that a person's body is being used against their will, right? But let's talk about this the reactive way. Let's talk about this the way that is likely going to go down, because it is not likely that people are going to get adequate defense from that philosophical position, despite it being correct. This is trying to make it so that not only is there the ability to engage in capital punishment for somebody who seeks an abortion, seeks, not just gets an abortion, seeks, because it says seeks or succeeds in doing so. Seeks or succeeds in doing so. You can seek an abortion and fail, literally just looking for one, Googling for an abortion. Googling about it is seeking for it, and that will hold you accountable for attempted murder. That will, right there, Boom. But any person has the right to defend his life or the life of another person, even by the use of deadly force. The way this is written, legally, if a woman seeks an abortion, you can just kill her. You can just end her life. She was seeking to kill another person, so you just kill her. This is literally exactly as this is written. This is literally exactly how Arcade Soviet is going to misread it because they can't read. This is written specifically to say the woman will be able to die either because the state does it or some random hero on the street does it. Section 2, the amendment set out in Section 1 shall then be submitted to qualified voters of the state at the general election in 2022, which election shall be conducted under the laws of the governing election of states. So, guess what? If you've ever voted before, you know that there are ballot box things like this, where you will vote for or against it. You, the people. This means that as opposed to senators or representatives who are either going to vote on this or against it because they realize that they are actually going to read this because it's their jobs, you who's just going to check red on everything because that's what your dad did, you're going to check red on everything in North Carolina, and then this is going to go through. Because most voters are not well informed. Most voters will literally just vote with their team and not even do so strategically just because, well, I'm a Republican, vote red. Well, I'm a Democrat, vote blue. That's standard practice here in the States. Do I think this will certainly go through? I don't know. I would love to be colored shocked. I really would. If a majority of votes cast on the question are in favor of the amendment, state board elections shall certify the amendment to the Secretary of State. What's the moral thing to do? What's the moral thing to do when you read something like this? You literally imagine there's a woman, 18 years old. They're just now getting the vote. They're going to the ballot box for the first time. They see this. I want to protect the lives of children. I love the lives of children. I'm going to vote yes on this. A year later, this is codified. This is here. It's a thing that she is living under now. She gets raped. This is bad. My body was violated. I'm going to go seek to remove this parasite from my body because my body was violated against my will. And then legally, anyone can just kill her. The minute she's vocalized that, the minute she's searched anything about that, the minute she has started these the steps to take care of this, that's it. The bill literally says once you have started to seek, you are in the process of premeditated murder, and anybody has the right to defend their life or the life of another person when they know a premeditated murder is going to happen. It's categorized abortion as a premeditated murder, and here we go. What's the moral thing to do here? Is the moral thing to figure out who writes bills like this and write them a very angry letter, or show up to their office and voice your concern? Because it's not like this is one of those bills that goes through to die on the Senate floor, right? There's a lot of politicians that just shotgun a bunch of bills to be debated on the Senate and the House floor, knowing that they'll die, but it works as a really good virtue signal. No. This is something that is being put in the hands of the average everyday voter. The average everyday voter, who, I hate to say it, I don't have a lot of faith in. I really don't. Salem says, if you combine this with the crap that Fuentes guy was saying earlier, people will be able to just go around murdering women and get away with it because they could claim they were seeking an abortion. If you can find them seeking an abortion in their Google search results, then you can. Here's the kicker, though. Here's the kicker. that would kill the baby in most cases. It really would. So you're still going to end up going to jail for that. Hopefully. Maybe. Maybe. But remember that in places like Texas, pregnant women have been kept alive against their family's will. Like pregnant women who have been in a vegetative state, who are functionally brain dead, have been kept alive against their will, against the will of the family, who that will defaults onto because they were pregnant. Because they were pregnant. I have one little clip to watch real quick. Just, you know.
If I could insist, this might sound a little strange, but if I could insist, as long as they are legal in our nation, abortions would be done in the public square. If I could insist, this might sound a little strange, but if I could insist, as long as they are legal in our nation, abortions would be done in the public square.
So they can't be kept alive against their will if they're vegetative? No. Legally here in the United States, if you're vegetative, that will defaults onto the family. And if the family says, we do not want you to be, we do not want you to have life support still, then that's it. But because a person was pregnant, they were forced to stay in that state for longer. The will was still there. It's just legally it defaults. Did she say she wants a medical procedure done in the public square? Yes. Yes. This is standard practice here in the States now. That was a video from 12 years ago. That was 12 years ago. That was old data. That was old news. The clip that we saw, not the North Carolina stuff. The North Carolina stuff is... That was February 25th of 2021. That is when that was drafted. That is to be voted on in the general election that is happening this year. Soccer says in 2015, someone in California tried to get a kill the gays by any convenient means ballot measure onto the ballot. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I feel as though the minute you put something like that onto the ballot, that should be like the moment that you lose your job, right? Like, can it... I have a question. Here's a fun one for people in the comment section. This is a hypothetical. If we're going to spend all this time talking about premeditated murder, is it premeditated murder to write a bill that allows other people to engage in easier access premeditated murder? Because I think one could actually make a case that writing a bill, like a kill the gays bill or this bill right here that allows you to try to kill women, I believe writing one of those bills should at the very least make you an accessory, right? I mean, after all, you are enabling murderers. You are creating an environment where it is more likely that they will happen. And not in a roundabout, like, oh, video games cause violence. What are those kind of ways? No. You literally wrote the bill that said that this could happen. I'm curious what the take on that would be. Because from my perspective, that is a line so blurry that it just looks like a gradient. And bear in mind, whether something holds up in legal court and whether or not something is philosophically correct are two different things. But that's my take. That's my question. Let me know in the comment section how you feel. Because that's an odd one for me. But as always, everybody, if you enjoyed this content, I don't know if you would, hit the like button, subscribe, all that other fun stuff that YouTube wants me to do. And we live in dark times. As always, everybody. Insert end of video tagline here.